And we're live. I'm here with, how do you say your name?
It's Bunger.
Bunger. I'm here with Bunger. It's out on Twitter as Bunger679. He's part of the Hopper Hours. So, Bunger, how you doing?
Not too bad. How you doing, dude?
Doing good.
Nice to kind of virtually meet you.
It is. Yeah, we've texted a bit. We've interacted on Twitter quite a few times. So it's like, no, I got this guy on eventually. So
I appreciate it.
Wow. So, tell my audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Kind of go through the whole, preamble.
Yeah. So Bunger, I got the nickname in college. It's just my name, Ben Unger. Grew up small town Missouri, conservative my whole life, and then got to college, became a libertarian. Started a Young Americans for Liberty chapter. Went to the national convention in 2016. That was cool. Became an ANCAP a couple years later, and now with the pandemic and everything, I graduated in 2020, industrial engineering, so factory engineering.
Nice.
Not the best time to graduate in May 2020 for that. And so the pandemic actually hit me pretty hard, and I kind of fucking hate these. I can swear in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I hate these people that shut everything down. So it's I don't really consider myself a libertarian anymore. I'm kind of okay with state action against these guys. But I got a job doing tech support, living in Kansas City. So
nice. Yeah, that is the exact kind of energy to have. Fuck these people.
Yeah,
you need to stand against them. They all, and we both seem to have gone through this whole we've gone through the whole anarchist thing. We kind of come out of the other side of that. I noticed you put post-libertarian in your bio. When I saw that, I was kind of like, okay. And I got your text actually about what these people, that's annoying. When I was a libertarian, I'm like, this is a guy I need to talk to.
Yeah, I've been listening to Mark Claire's and Pete's stuff. I'll be honest, I honestly still don't fully understand what post-libertarian means.
Well, it's really not a thing; it's a moment people have.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if there's a set definition.
No, what was it? LB Muniz, she's part of the whole group. Wrote an article called the post-libertarian moment. I'll send it to you after the show. It's pretty good.
One of our guys at Hop Hours, he's rarely on the show, but he described it as someone that no longer believes that the libertarian moment is tenable. Which I did like that description too.
That's a good definition. I've always considered it kind of a I talked to Matt Erickson about this. I had him on the whole moment was all kind of happened. I had him on to talk about it, and I asked him the way I see it is, excuse me, people have kind of looked around and they've realized they're kind of done with libertarianism. They like the philosophy, may not like the philosophy, but they're kind of okay. The answers are not in the philosophy. I have to go outside the philosophy and see what I can incorporate into the existing philosophy or create a new philosophy. And it's people who have completely dropped it, Pete and Matt. People who have worked LB is still a concept of libertarian, still works new things into it. He just accepts things outside of the whole Austrian libertarian camp, which a lot of libertarians have a hard time looking outside their own ideology.
Yeah, I don't even know if I still believe in the ideology so much. It is a good base. I still think it's a decent baseline for everyday lives, because majority of our interactions as human beings are anarchist. Yeah. It's basically the NAP is the golden rule, but you can't live your way for every interaction that way either.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, I think Mark has really good points about, hey, just worry about yourself.
Yeah, that is one the stories about the people who went to the Mises Caucus event and couldn't pay rent. It's kind of okay, dude. I mean, really, are you? I don't know who it was specifically, but he was a fucking idiot.
It was Ben Hinkman.
Oh,
because he tweeted something.
I've had my interactions
with Pete the other day.
In the past.
Yeah, he tweeted something. I think at Pete the other day, and I was like, "Oh, well, did you consider this?" Which obviously, duh. But I just replied to the guy. I'm like, "Did you pay your rent?" He honestly answered me with a yes. I'm like, I'm not. It wasn't an actual question, you retard.
Yeah. The autism.
How do you call yourself a libertarian? Not be against government hand. I get charity and goodwill and everything, but just forcibly put yourself in that situation to rely on it.
Yeah.
I think that's also inconsistent.
I love how a lot of like libertarian characters are like super rich capitalist businessmen, like Ayn Rand writes about, and then the actual libertarians can't pay their rent. Like there's this, this slice of irony right there. I love it.
Or it's kind of like also reminds me of the what was the article Rothbard wrote about the LP convention after he left the LP?
Oh,
Was it him or was
I
it
just,
Lou Rockwell? You know what I'm talking about? Where they're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the guy that like was a kleptomaniac until he read Ayn Rand.
Oh, these are not serious people. Like this is my new go-to response. I've been debating a lot of people on the whole like LP Florida situation, and like every response I get back, I'm kind of like, you're not a serious person. Delete your account plus ratio. These aren't serious people.
So how does it feel to live under the most authoritarian governor ever?
It's pretty fucking great, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking great.
I'm jealous.
I love it. King DeSantis all the way, man. Let's go.
I want to move there. I mean, I just moved from Missouri to Kansas. So, I mean, we don't have it bad here. Missouri, they didn't shut down like statewide. Some counties did for a bit. St. Louis and Kansas City were pretty locked down for a while, but that was all local. So I was fine with that, especially because I was still libertarian. Now, you know, like, did DeSantis allow the counties to lock down?
He didn't. He didn't I know Broward County locked down, but that was like against his like he told him not to do it. He did it anyway. So there was kind of a whole like local issue versus state issue kind of thing that occurred there. But and there's people who are out there saying like he wasn't an anti-lockdown governor. He locked down for 2 weeks. I'm like, that's what everyone said. That was the only thing you could do. I mean, it's like he should have locked down, but like also all the information available to the guy said that, and he realized no, this isn't working. Let's try something else.
Even like as an anarchist at the time, I was like, okay, we can do the 2 weeks. You know, like we saw the people, like, you know, all the Italy videos of all them dying. You know, Florida has the oldest population. And then also, like, do you remember the fucking videos from China of the people just falling over dead on the streets? Like, what happened? One, what happened to that? But two, it's like, I don't blame the guy for shutting down.
Yeah, no, there was good reason to believe that was like the only, especially that was the only thing they were pushing when the experts were only pushing lockdowns as a successful alternative. I mean, and people still at that time, like people don't understand. COVID was a red pill for a lot of people understanding like how experts operate. Until then, you could trust experts normally. Like, okay, these experts are saying this, we can believe them. There's no ulterior motive. When they say the objective, they actually are objective. Like we are in a different world nowadays than back then. So I can't fault the guy for what he did in the past world, pretty much, you know?
Yeah, like I mean, it's the same people that are like, oh, if you like smoke cigarettes, your chance of getting cancer go up. Or, you know, if you eat too much McDonald's, you're gonna get fat. It's like
yeah.
You know, typically when it comes to health, they're mostly right.
Yeah. I'm not gonna stop. I fucking love my cigarettes at McDonald's. I'm a Floridian.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, I've been living off Taco Bell, nicotine, and Red Bulls for like 2 days now. It's the Florida diet, man. It's strong as an ox over here. Let's go.
Well, it's a good weight loss because the nicotine increases your metabolism. So
yep. That's a hunger suppressant I read. So I'm hungry less. You know, it's like intermittent fasting. Fuck that. Vapes.
And the Taco Bell just clears everything out. It takes the bad stuff out with it. So
God,
it's healthy.
They got a jalapeno cheese sauce they put on their crunch wraps now, man. Oh my God, it's so good. Like I can't get enough for them crunch wraps. They open at 7, and my job starts at 6. So sometimes you can time it just right, get the wires opening, and get that fresh hot sausage crunch wrap. Oh, dog, it's so good.
What do you look forward to the rest of the day then?
Getting off work. That's pretty much it. Like maybe lunch when I can bring a book with me and read it for a little bit. But that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so Hopper hours. I seem to be more of a Hoppian type before you kind of went outside the libertarian ideal.
Yeah, I mean, we're all just like ANCAP leaning, except for the one guy. He actually, it was a formerly Twitterless because he went by Twitterless because he refused to get his own Twitter. But he got one now. He was the one that he replied to you the other day. He said he had the a bunch of books signed by the Mises Caucus, or not Mises Caucus, the Mises Institute people, the good Mises people.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has a ton of books from there. He actually is the one that got me my signed copy of Liberty Defined.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, he's the only one that he was neo-reactionary. The other three, me and the other two, ANCAPs. Well, not me anymore, but and it kind of just started off like a libertarian podcast without politics. So initially we were talking about just like mostly culture stuff that we saw. Like one of the most fun ones where you just bitch for like an hour about the people that are like sports ball. You know, the bread and circus people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just like complain about those. You know, basically just the Go Touch Grass podcast.
I can respect that. I can respect
Yeah.
that. There were speaking of Liberty Defined, there were too many books starting with Liberty. For New Liberty, Liberty Defined, Conceived in Liberty, Essex of Liberty. I can't get him. I can't get him straight, man.
Well, before I replied to you about when you asked that question, I was like, it was Liberty Defined, right? And I had to like look it up just to make sure.
I get it. Libertarians like liberty, but get better names for your books. I mean, I love Waspa, I love Hopper, but what was that book? Essex, Economic and Ethics of Private Property. Great book. Fucking terrible title.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to pick that book up? It's
or also with Hopper's theory of socialism, capitalism. But then you also just have Mises that just calls his book socialism.
Yeah.
So, on the other end,
like, I can respect the simple title, but
right.
I was like, that's also like I think that's his best book, honestly. Like Socialism by Mises is like probably my favorite. Like besides Against the Left and Socialism, like the two top tier Austrian libertarian books everyone should read, even if they're not a libertarian. Those books are just like really great.
Right. No, it's definitely been on my reading list. I just need to sit down and like actually start reading more.
Yeah.
Or actually reading like nonfiction. I've been reading through the Dune books. So
nice. What are your thoughts on the Dune book? I'm thinking I'm currently going through Lord of the Rings now. It's like fiction reading, and I found out Tolkien did not like the Dune books.
Yeah, no, I just found that out too. I'm loving it. I just finished Dune Messiah Friday, the second one. Which the second one was pretty slow, but it was fascinating. So Tolkien hated him because basically, Frank Herbert was an atheist. Tolkien, I don't think, was also the biggest sci-fi fan. Their writing styles are vastly different.
Yeah, I mean, Tolkien created whole languages. I mean, this is a giant nerd.
Right. Another thing, Herbert, because the books are like 10,000 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the books that Paul Atreides has given to him by the Doctor in the first book is called the Orange Bible. So it's like they kind of like in the future combine some of the old religions and stuff too. But so I think that's also what Tolkien didn't like.
I can imagine Tolkien not liking that, being a Catholic.
Yeah,
I've been reading up on Tolkien's political views. Dude, I mean, you ever read him write about divorce? Apparently, someone wrote him a letter asking him like if elves could get divorced, and he just went off on it pretty much. Like he started off as, well, here's why they can't get divorced, and he also no one should get divorced. And he just kept going off about like divorce shouldn't be a thing. And I'm like, and now they're like, I love how these people who are making the new Lord of the Rings stuff like Tolkien would agree with us on our like progressive identity stuff, and it's like, dude, he didn't believe women. Like he called women who enjoyed sex an oddity. Like that's
dude, don't admit that.
I love it. Base Tolkien, let's go.
Yeah, no, yeah, like he was just fascinating, and I hate I'm not looking forward to the Amazon stuff.
I have a friend of mine, like a Tolkien guy. We're gonna pirate it and review it because we're not gonna give him any money. We're just gonna pirate it to watch it because it's
right. I mean, I guess I've already given them money, but yeah, I'll probably pirate it also and watch it on there.
Yeah, it's gonna be so bad, dude. I can't deal with it.
Not anti-woke, but the same studio did The Boys.
Like, yeah, The Boys is weird, honestly. Like you watch it and it's like it's not. It's very good at not being woke, but it's also not anti-woke. It's weird how it like walks this line of it being like it's shock value, and sometimes the shock value is just being not woke. Not even anti-woke, it's not woke.
Right. It kind of like Dave Chappelle, it kind of just goes after everyone. Like it goes after the SJWs, but it also like goes after the right wingers. Like I texted John the Wildman from Hop Hour the other day. I was like watching the new season. I was like, why does The Boys always make right wingers look so badass? And it's just this group. It's like huge rednecks in like a gun convention. Like we're gonna take on the government. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Let's go.
Yeah,
that's great. Dude, this Friday is the Hero Gasm episode.
I downloaded that series on the comics today because I haven't read all the comics, only some of them. So I was like, I'm gonna read these. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not.
Apparently, it's like banned in 14 different countries, and I'm like, I can't wait.
Yeah, Anthony Starr already said he's not watching parts of it.
That dude's such a good actor, though. I mean, this is the facial expressions he can do. It's his eyes, it's like this is flashes of like entirely different personalities, and I'm like, this guy is an amazing actor.
I heard interviews from the cast over the last couple seasons. They're all saying he's just the nicest person.
I've seen
Like
some
out of all of
bloopers
them.
and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's funny. Watch the blooper. Like the moment he's not, like the moment he messes up a line, his face reverts like to his normal face, and you can barely recognize him. Like it's just crazy how much it's just kind of like, wait, that's the same guy, and it's just a split second. Like he can, I don't know how he does it. He has just such control over how he presents himself. It's insane. I want to see him do more after Boys ends. I want to see him do more movies, more shows. I got to see him in more things. He's a great actor.
Well, I heard I saw an interview with the guy from Supernatural, Soldier Boy.
Mm.
And he was told to bulk up, so he spent months in the gym and stuff. And then he showed up on set, and Anthony Starr's just like, dude, why didn't you just ask them to put padding in the suit? He's like, what the fuck?
I love it. Oh, it's so
yeah.
Back to politics. I'm having from his cold. So you mentioned post-libertarian. Are you like reading things outside of libertarianism now? You like watching NRX type videos? Like most people go post-libertarian, end up inadvertently going down the NRX pipeline. Like, so
Yeah, I started reading a little bit of it, not much, but everything I have seen out of early Yarvin, at least, I'm really liking. So I know I've heard like more recent Yarvin isn't as good.
Yeah, I think there's Modebug and there's Yarvin, and it's
right.
not the same. I would say I think Land goes too far when he criticizes like at one point he said like 3 degrees of separation between Modebug and Yarvin and IQ or something. Like, it was just, I don't think it's that bad, but
right.
Some people really are hating on Yarvin.
Yeah, well, then the like, what was it, a month or two ago? Pete had him and Aaron McIntyre on. I thought Aaron was just dominating the conversation.
Owen is amazing.
Yeah,
like, that dude is just incredible. I mean,
where did he come from?
I don't know. He popped out of nowhere. I saw him on Twitter one day, and I'm like,
up. At least on my
And like his talking points, his tweets end up like I hear him on the Daily Wire. They never reference him, but they always like say the same exact thing, quote him word for word. And it's like this guy's like influencing all the right people in the right ways.
I didn't know the Daily Wire would go that far right.
It's honestly been shocking. Like Vince Shapiro's store like sucks ass,
right?
But like Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh are like ridiculous.
Yeah, good. Walsh has gotten cool.
Yeah,
over the last couple. I need to watch his documentary still. I heard it's great.
It's I watched it and reviewed it with Tommy Salmons and Adam Netto, and it's a great documentary, man. I think I'm probably gonna watch it again soon because it's like Matt Walsh. I don't know what I think what his politics is getting. It's so the culture politics I think is so fucking insane. Like it's so like this on its face, bats it insane that someone who just has very common sense and is very like a regular dude can just poke all these holes in it, and they react more like in visceral anger to Matt Walsh common questions than they would to like some academic writing. Like they're more mad at Matt Walsh for asking what is a woman than Deborah Sill's entire article or books. Like it's
well, also like going back with just the normal common sense shit. It's like Jordan Peterson. Like, why do so many people hate him? He's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't throw people in jail for calling a 4-year-old the wrong gender. Also, make your bed.
Yeah, it's such simple advice, and people are just like reading about it
for years.
Yeah,
and they're like, I'm glad you got hooked on painkillers. It's like, why?
Yeah, what? I can't remember the exact quote, but there was some early Tits Falls like who said something about there'll be a time where being sane is called insane, and being insane would be called the norm. I'm paraphrasing him like maliciously, but he was like spot on with that.
And has it always been this way, or has the internet made it worse, or is it just more noticeable, or is it just?
I was thinking about it the other day, like I was talking about. I have a friend who's like I have a coworker who's very like non-political. He's like I just don't want to upset people. I want to go both sides, see both sides. I don't watch the news because I can't trust the stories they're saying. This very middle of the road, normal person. And we're talking about how like, when he's younger, party was like this crazy saying, and nowadays it's all this like insane stuff. And I was thinking, like, okay, what was the cause? Was it like the internet that's like making it mainstream now? Everyone sees it all the time. It's all the news, or was it always kind of mainstream, but then there wasn't like these outlets for people to like really get into it, you know? Like it's different like having a Sunday newspaper that gives you a little bit of news to having like every minute you got a new breaking news story, it feels like.
Yeah. I think it did get exasperated after 9/11 with the 24-hour news, but also like I don't know, like it's so much more in your face. Like, do you think without the internet debauchery was forced underground?
Maybe not forced underground, maybe just
It wasn't celebrated.
It was, I think, it was relegated to areas.
Right.
Like people, if you could go to New Orleans and see Mardi Gras, but now Mardi Gras is advertised every day. It feels like,
Yeah.
it's like people who aren't to dinner with are like one of it's like, much as I don't like Saturday as well. So his stuff about how culture moves, I think, is actually pretty good. And people don't want to be the guy, the first person to wear a red dress. They want to be the person who says and announces somebody wearing the red dress. And so they can have this like pseudo like, oh, see, I'm a part of this movement because I say a drag queen story hours on Twitter. And it's like all you're doing is saying news stories, make people hate people. They have to. I can't put into words, but it's just really weird. Like they want to be a part of culture, but actually actually do any of the things, the work.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people, all political parties do that, but definitely the LP is the worst at it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Everything I hate about politics is like exemplified in how terrible it is in the LP. Like it's a joke.
Yeah, but like, and even like since like when you said like it was all relegated to areas. Sorry about that side LP rant. They've just been pissing me off so much lately.
Same.
But like even then, like it was like even just a couple years ago, I'd be like fine like going out to some bars with friends and like we'd go to a gay bar or something, like in St. Louis or something, and it's like some like not the ones that were like in your face or anything, but it's like it was like okay, that's fine. I got drunk with some friends at a bar and there was a drag show there. And I don't consider myself like super degenerate. Like it's not something I'd go to every weekend or anything. It was like a one-time thing. Or Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Am I going to take a fucking kid there?
Obviously not.
I'm not going to talk about it in church on Sunday morning.
Yeah, like, it's so... I can't...
I understood it was debaucherous and it had its time and its place.
Yes. Yeah, it's... How do I put this? The whole point, like, those things have time and places. Like the church was on Sunday. These things are relegated to these areas, red light districts, these kind of things. It's like the internet is like tore down all borders between like groups and events, and now everything nothing no longer has a time and place. Everything has to be whenever the person wants it to be, and it's never it's this constant. Yeah, but. I think nothing more to add on. I mean, it's just so insane,
right? And you have to be okay with it, or you're shunned.
Yeah,
like
I wouldn't mind being shunned at this point.
yeah, I am too. But it's like, when did that happen? Like even just a couple years ago. Like it's like the slippery slope thing. But it's like, no, drag shows are gross, or like they definitely shouldn't have to bake the cake. But now it's like you are gonna like have to like fucking I'm surprised there aren't countries already like Canada or Australia and stuff like forcing pastors to perform gay weddings.
Yeah, I mean they're already forcing parents to like either hope their kids transition or it's something about. It's actually maybe an interesting point to go down. The governments aren't willing to force organizations to perform like gay marriages, but they're willing to force individuals to perform trans surgeries on children, and that kind of just points to the state that is in numbers and state that's in collectives. Like the Adams individuals are most vulnerable to the state.
Right. No, yeah, that is a good point, because I do think if they go after the church, then it's gonna be bad. And then I saw some people are like, oh well, obviously they're always like tax the churches, and it's like if they do that, they're gonna get a political voice. You really don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
We want that, but
yeah, I would love like the SPX church people had a political voice. Like that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I mean they saw it in Canada. They did something. They tried to do like they locked down a few. They set down a few churches. And people were outside. Like was it in Canada? A guy was yelling like some Polish pastor was like yelling at the police officer, calling them Nazis. I think I was in Canada.
Yeah, no, that was a synagogue.
Yeah,
that was a synagogue. Yeah,
like when they did try to push some religious lockdown stuff, and it backfired a lot. There's people who went along. The ones who didn't were like mainstream news stories, and that obviously wasn't good for the agenda. And so it really is like there is safety in a collective people, there's safety in a group, there's safety in numbers, and this is why I think libertarian really. I mean, this is why I think the Libertarian Party still was probably going to fail, as they decentralized. I mean, the LPMC spent 2 years pretty much saying we're not going to want someone against DeSantis.
It wasn't even a week later.
A week later, like less than a week later, because it's decentralized, they can't actually stop them from doing it. They're gonna ignore and make put egg on Dave's face and everyone else's face who said they weren't going to do it. And it's just
That's the thing,
it's,
like, I
it's
get they
ridiculous.
can do it. They don't have power over the Florida LP. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad setup. But they should be. Dave needs maybe not from the national LP standpoint, but every single member, Dave, Angela, Josh Smith, Michael Heiss, they all need to be like against this vocally.
This is what I'm going to ask Hector when I interview him next month. I actually got the interview.
No,
I'm
I saw that.
It's going to be, dude, I can't wait to interview. I have so many questions. I really want to know, like, why people should vote for him. The whole LP situation. Like, I really want to get his story about the whole, why did he decide to run?
So is the guy Mises Caucus?
Yes.
Okay.
He's been there for a while.
Okay.
He didn't delete his private Twitter account from before he announced his office. So
I saw he had like 1,000 followers on there or something. That's kind of decent amount.
Not bad.
Yeah.
He gets 0 interactions. He gets like
okay.
I can't find a single like on any of these posts.
Hmm.
But I've never seen him tweet anything that wasn't just the most mainstream libertarian take you can imagine. It's for political. Yeah. He's a professional political consultant, and he's making this decision to run against the most popular governor in the country without any experience beforehand. I don't know if he's probably not a good political consultant. I can imagine.
Well, I mean, he's in the LP. I don't think you can be a good political consultant and be in the LP.
True.
I would tell him to keep his day job, but I don't know if we want that either.
No. He can find a new job, work at McDonald's or something. What's he drinking over there?
I got a Truly lemonade from the gas station.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've had a Truly's like once, but I can't remember what it tasted like because I was already like past the point of like remembering the night.
No, I like their lemonades a lot. They're not like too sweet like Mike's Hard or anything like that. So they're actually enjoyable because I typically don't like. I'm okay with seltzers, but I typically don't like sweeter drinks.
Yeah, I'm not a big seltzer guy.
Yeah, these are actually good.
I had I was at some restaurant in Lakeland, sitting nearby, and they had a bunch of cider options. And I'm a huge like Angry Orchard guy. They had a black cherry. They had a black cherry cider.
Ooh.
And it was fucking amazing, dude. I could not get over it. I had like 3 of them. I was like, give me another one. Give me more. I need more.
Yeah.
They just tasted so good.
So what part of Florida are you in then?
Polk County, right there in the middle.
Oh, okay. You're not in Bay County or
no. I wish. No, I'm in the part like I'm in. Is an example of how bad Polk County has like a image. If you notice how big the table is, so Big Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's an episode where they go to Florida to sing a song about how terrible Lakeland is. And I'm constantly in Lakeland for friends. All my friends live in Lakeland. My sister used to be in Lakeland, so it's like known as a very not like to. It's where poor people go, they say, but it's really not that. It's not that bad. It's like it's got like growing cities, but it's a good place to be.
Okay.
We got Axel in place. I mean, you can drink beer and throw axes. What more do you want?
I did axing one time at my hometown. There's a bar that has it. So we waited in line for our spot because they only like 5 at a packed bar. This guy that was like working it was like just as skinny as me, and this is his job to like show people how to do it. And he like throws one and it just misses. I'm like, this is your job, dude. You're also the only sober one here.
Oh my, yeah. I love the fact that like drinking the sour ones have axe throwing things. Like it's beautiful. It's so like stupid, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. It's the insurance on those places has to be insane.
I can't imagine. I can't like. I'm trying to like put to a number. I can't even think about but I'm pretty. I think bars already have like a high insurance situation. I can't imagine so like bladed weaponry that is thrown by drunk people.
Yeah,
like how the.
And they don't put like a breathalyzer on there. Like I know like bars aren't supposed to. It's illegal to overserve people, but when does that ever happen?
No one.
Or when does it stop them? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to know what's like next after axe throwing.
Drunken go-karts. I'm gonna bet money on drunken go-karts.
I could do that. That'd be fun.
Like, that'd be a blast.
That would be awesome.
Get Lou Walker in to have a road beer.
Well, I was about to say, like, did you ever play Don't Drink and Drive, the Mario Kart game?
I don't. No.
So you play Mario Kart with friends, and you have a beer with you. Mm-hmm. The race starts. You open the beer. You have to finish the beer before you finish the race. You cannot drink while you are actively driving. Oh,
I'm playing that with my friends.
It's so much fun.
They just got a new Switch. They're looking for games to play. I'm gonna look up Nintendo Switch drinking games. I'm gonna have a good time.
So in college, we did the GameCube one.
Nice.
And we would do teams of 2 because we would do the 16 tracks. We would chug 8
Mm.
beers in like an hour. And then we would go play our B team soccer in a mural league.
Oh.
That was some of the most fun nights I had.
See, these stories that these kind of stories that make me want to go to college.
The rest of college mostly sucked.
Yeah.
And my college was like, it was engineering, so it was like 80% guys.
Yeah. I only did a 1 semester before I was I actually don't know if I'm allowed back on the campus yet. I had a I never told the story on air before, so I'm gonna tell the story real quick. I had the cops call to me in the school because I was doing one of those honor lock tests where they have to record you when you take the test, and I didn't know it was already active because I couldn't get into the class, and I had been dealing. It was like during peak COVID. I've been trying to like get a hold of anybody, and they don't would answer. The business never does. The school never does it, but the school hours were online. They're always closed. They open for like 2 hours a day and never told me what the hours were. And so I was just having like a couple of weeks of dealing with these assholes. And I made a joke because they're all very jumpy about school shooters. And I made a joke saying, if the school was so scared about school shooters, you'd think they treat their students nicer. And I think that's reasonable. I think that's a very true statement. The school did not think so. And so the cops called my parents, everyone I knew, my employer, trying to get a hold of me. I was out of town. And so I had to get a phone with a cop, and he's like, so I heard he's swearing to shoot up a school. I'm like, no, I told him the joke, and then I defended the joke to the cop, and I argued with him about it. And then I had to do a meeting with the dean that I never went to. I just said, I'm done. I'm not going. I'm not doing this. Dropped out.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I actually don't know if I'm like what my situation of standing is right now with that school.
What were you gonna go for? Did you know you had it?
I was gonna get my AA, and then right now I have to find someone to get a 4-year degree. Because I got to get a surveying license for my job. And it's crazy in Florida. You need a surveying license. You have any 4-year degree, literally anything. I can get a degree in economics and get a surveying license out of it. It's stupid.
It's so dumb. Like some of those things, like I know, like law, like pre-law can be anything. Like most people do, like history or whatever. But at least then, they have 4 years of school for just law. Like why is it not like a civil engineering degree or something for surveying?
Yeah,
or why is it not like a year class, maybe, or apprenticeship? Yeah, you can definitely do an apprenticeship for surveying.
I'm currently working at a surveying place. Been here 5 years on apprenticeship, pretty much, and it's what it is this big surveying company here has a bunch of like licensed surveyors, and they don't want to get more licensed surveyors, and so we've kind of rigged it where you can't without a degree. So it's just a great example of cronyism in Florida. Hey, so Bishop, that's your next topic. I'm giving an assignment now. I need him to do a video on cronyism in Florida and get DeSantis to fix that. I don't want to fix the school.
Right. What was the thing about the power company in Florida? I heard Tho mention it on a podcast.
Like Duke Energy, or
maybe they got like a bunch of the state reps into the state Congress, and then DeSantis just vetoed the bill.
Yeah, I don't know a bunch about the story. Okay. I do know Duke Energy is the assholes. I have to do this at work sometimes, and they're just even like the lowest people are assholes. Like this, the guys in the field are dicks. Like, so I can't imagine higher ups any better. Like I've never met a good person who works at Duke.
So they're just like, are they like power supply for like the whole state then, basically?
Not for the whole state, but for a lot of it.
Okay.
A lot of it, though.
Okay.
I mean, most people I know have like either some employee relationship with Duke, or get the energy from Duke, or something along the lines.
But so are they coal or what?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the details. I might need. I'm not gonna. I know. My deals when I worked, I always setting up solar plants or solar power plants or something. Like these giant like miles of solar farm. But I can't imagine that's
not that much land to do that for anymore. Much longer. Oh. Everyone's moving there.
If people would move here and then the price of houses and apartments would drop, that'd be great. Yeah. I guess the biggest issue in Florida right now is how expensive it is to be here. Like I'm never leaving, but I can't afford to stay.
I want to move there.
If you ever move down here, man, let me. If you ever move down here, let me know. We can get a drink or sometime.
Go drink sometime. For sure. No, I think I would do probably Orlando because fiance, her whole family's nuts, like Disney adults. So
Disney adults. I lost count how many of my friends like proposed or got married at Disney. Like I have just lost count of this like people.
I did that. but they're huge into Disney, and then she didn't know I was going to be there.
Okay, so that adds to it. It's different than just going to Disney on a go.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I went to Disney like every other Friday for like a year and a half at one point. I mean,
oh, that's
I was
awesome.
also like 12. we had passes. We lived like pretty close.
Oh yeah, they're so
homeschooled,
cheap for Florida residents.
They were. They've changed how it's done, but it's
right.
I mean, it's still fun to go. I mean, I got yeah. I mean, I went to the Star Wars place and got the whole lightsaber situation.
Oh, nice.
You know, I mean, it's fun. I did the whole build your own lightsaber thing too, and it's a blast. It's really cool, but it's just after COVID, it's not fun. It's not fun to be there.
They had like no restrictions at all. No, and I just went in April.
Okay, I might need to go again then.
Yeah, no, there were a couple cast members wearing masks, but that was it. Yeah,
dude, we were trying to buy. I went like once during the whole COVID situation when they were open, and we're trying to.
Because how far away from it are you?
I'm like probably an hour.
Okay,
an hour. Probably it depends on traffic, but average about an hour. And we're trying to get some ice cream, and I have my mask on, talk to the guy, and my mom's sitting down, and she sees this wasp. It's like landing on this guy's hat, moving off. He doesn't notice it. And so she walks up and like has a mask. Like, hey, there's a wasp. And he says, "Ma'am, your mask." And like he keeps on saying, "I'm just telling you about the wasp." He keeps cutting my mom off about the wasp. It's like, fine, get stung. And then she like walked off. And I'm just like looking at him like, you're an asshole. And I paid for my ice cream and left. I'm like, he's trying to help you out. You have a plexiglass windshield in front of you. He's directly
that stops everything.
Fuck up. It was so like I wanted to hit him. I was ready to hit him. It was so stupid.
Yeah, like we moved up to here in Kansas City last fall. And Kansas, like I said, when we moved up, Kansas City was still pretty locked down. We moved up I started work in September. So my parents came up in October to visit. And we went to Boulevard's, the biggest brewery up here in Kansas City. And we were at a table. They still had a mask mandate in the city. And Boulevard was enforcing it pretty strict. So my dad walked away from the table, like 5 feet from the table, just to see the menu. He's in his 50s. His eyesight's not great anymore. They like 3 of them yell at him to put on his mask. He's not sitting by anyway. He's like, I just wanted to see what beer, he was going to wear his mask to get the beer. And it's like, fuck off.
It's like, the example people give of like teenage lifeguards, when they get any amount of power, it all goes to the head. It's like people have no power. This is why I think he was right. People have no power, and the moment they got like, any ability to enforce anything, and not only have the authority to enforce, but then feel like a good person, everyone applaud them for enforcing it. They all just just jumped on that shit, and it was insane.
Well, yeah, I think COVID definitely. Actually, going back to our earlier conversation, all the COVID stuff, because it definitely got really, really bad during COVID. Like people have always been like this, but I think that's like what's pushed in the last year or so more of the LGBTQ stuff, because people want to be the good people, but also the January 6th people, like the people just turning in their own family members.
Well, yeah. What in the? I mean,
if they were like armed and burning it down, like we saw all of 2020, I'd be like, okay, I can understand you turning in your family members.
Yeah,
I would disagree with it, but I could understand it.
Yeah, but it's like going on an unguided tour to like the most sacred place in our democracy.
They were let in, unlike Colbert's reporters. They had more of a reason to be there than Colbert's reporters did.
Yeah, it's. I mean, even in like Russia, people who return to families, well, it's like immediately disrespected. No one liked them, like it was just. And nowadays, people are like celebrated for turning in family members. Like, culturally, I would say we're like not far off from like communist Russia, which makes you like a boomer. But also, fuck you, we're not wrong. I mean,
that's why the Libertarian Party people are going to be like, let's just not use the gulags. And you and me are like, let's put these people into the gulags. Let's use the gulags for ourselves.
I'm a fan of that idea.
Yeah.
Listen, prison abolition. I love Marcel. I love Ace. They're both right. We should get rid of prisons, but not for the left. The left, they deserve prison. Maybe worse prisons. Like start taking confinement. Something like I don't know. I can't think of a good idea for punishment. I'm not going to be like Fed posted on here, but But yeah, they deserve what's coming to them, which is probably not salvation.
This is why I think Hoppe and Pinochet are wrong with the helicopters, because you could still get work out of them. Yeah. Let's make money off it. Yeah.
You always need a worker class. I think I almost said a mandated forced worker class, and I realized what that was gonna sound like as I was saying it. I'm like, okay, I gotta pull back on that one a little bit. that's gonna get clipped out later.
I mean, I guess one-on-one podcasts are kind of like mandates, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Libertarian Party, they have been. There was some guy I saw on Twitter today. So Josiah. So I can't pronounce his at. I can't. I'm not gonna try. But some Orthodox guy named just Josiah made a post about libertarians like leftists that have they have like. I can't remember exactly, but it was like they live in a circus that has instead of a gate, a giant hole that lets leftists flood into it, and it's like it's against the NAP to like kick the gatekeep. And some music bloggers are coming like, "Oh, you're behind the news. We kicked out all the leftists in the Libertarian Party like 2 weeks ago." And it's just like, oh, dude. I just posted a photo of a meme, and it was a Conquest Second Law. It's just like, I mean,
was that the one you posted, the SpongeBob one?
No, I had a different one.
Okay.
I had one that was the wrestler. I think it was the Undertaker or something like behind him in the wrestling meme, and it was a Mises Caucus smiley. Behind him was Congress Second Law, and it's like, dude, Congress Second Law shouldn't be proven daily. Okay, it's supposed to take time for these things to be proven. It's not like a daily occurrence where I got to post talk of the Congress Second Law. It's right again.
So since you bring up Congress Second Law a lot, I was going to ask, did you listen to Dave Smith on Lines of Liberty last week?
Yep.
Yeah. I think he had a decent point about it with the Mises Institute itself is not expressly right wing.
Yeah, I would say what's weird about the Mises Institute when it comes
so are they
to
just the exception to the rule?
I don't know if they're the exception. I think what it is it's Lou Walker, Jeff Dice, Papa. They have so many people there who are explicitly right wing that the higher ups involved are explicitly right wing, and that deters leftists from trying to subvert it. And so it's like, why it is not an explicitly right wing group, the higher ups are explicitly right wing, and so it is by proxy explicitly right wing. And so it kind of it's not it's I think Congress Second Law doesn't apply because it is implicitly right wing, but not explicitly. So it's like it's a weird example, but I still think they are not. I don't think they're an exception to the rule. I think it's just a different way of you have to really look at it and kind of formulate why it's a situation like this. Because it wasn't a point he brought up. I thought it was an interesting
right.
point.
Yeah. No. And before he brought it up, I always just initially thought of them as right wing.
Yeah.
But I also think the Mises Caucus itself. I keep screwing that up. They need to come out as right wing because libertarianism should, at least in the American sense, Rothbardian sense, should be right wing, which is what the party is. It's not okay, maybe not quite Rothbardian, but it's Rothbard leaning. Absolutely. And I don't know why they never just came out and said it.
Because libertarians want to be accepted. That's like the biggest thing libertarians want is not to win, but to be accepted as like a legitimate third party option, which is why they let in like that Carolyn crazy lady with the demon eyes.
Who?
What's her name? I can't pronounce her last name, but I see her to block me on Twitter. Let me find if I can look up here. Dr. Carolyn.
The New Hampshire girl.
Yeah, the one who said all the Jews decided to kill this wanted to die, and Hitler was in heaven. That fucking nut job.
Yeah.
I mean, why did they let her in? They let her in because they want to be accepted. And
she has like 15,000 followers. Like I just saw her this week with the Florida stuff. I had never seen this girl before. Yeah,
she was on Dustin Spencer, so she's been on the Libertarian podcast.
Okay.
When she started off, she was especially the left me person. Like she's especially the left me kind of person, which means she still admits to being on the left, and she's just anti-Republican, right wing. Has the craziest take. I mean, just look at her and how she talks.
So kind of like a Brian Coyle.
Yeah, Brian Coyle. Yeah.
Okay.
That guy burned his LP membership. Did you see that? Like he posted about burning it. I'm like,
I saw the screenshot. I was like, oh, this person blocked me. I forgot about him.
Yeah. I wish I wasn't blocked saying coach and say you're allowed to have matches. Like I just talked to someone like this child that's allowed to have like start file.
Yeah.
Like
well, also like with the why they should be right wing, fucking Vermin Supreme. If you want to be taken seriously, kick that guy out of the party.
Yeah. But guys, he wears a boot on his head. That takes up the norm. And how
I
anyone
get
takes
the
him
fucking
seriously.
joke by now.
Like how does it like it's not even a funny joke. Like it's just a stupid joke.
Even at first, I was like, "Oh, I get it. That's kind of interesting." And now I'm just like, "Dude, stop."
Yeah.
I've never seen him say anything remotely intelligent.
I don't think he can. I don't believe he is intelligent. I mean, anyone who puts a boot on their head and dresses like that, it can't be intelligent.
Right.
Like, it's you saw you ruled out. You can't.
He's just a commie.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember. I saw some tweets about him like explicitly socialist and communist.
Yeah, like he's super big on worker co-ops and unions, equal pay, labor theory of value stuff. I from what I remember, I could be wrong, but
Like
I don't want some fucking neckbeard coming in here. Oh well, actually, he's more of a mutualist than a socialist. Shut up. He sucks.
All left-wing people are demonic. I'm just gonna make that my hot take for today. That's just I don't care. If I'm wrong, okay, well, block me. I don't care. This is my new thing. If you think I'm wrong, don't engage. Just block me. Just be happy that I'm wrong. Okay, I'm fine with that. And that's why I think that's right. That like all good libertarians, all the good libertarians are good on economics. Actually, let's get this a little bit. A lot of libertarians are great on economics, but they also have a hard time only speaking in economic terms. Economics does not convince people. Like the few it convinces like autistic people who like numbers, and people who are like that. But like if you want to make it, this is actually why I think Eric von Knut is more convincing than Hopper, because he'll make historical and logical arguments, where Hopper kind of has the economic and a priori things. And I think why his is really good, you have to kind of be open to that kind of language. Why with Ledin, he can just give you historical examples and explain why things are better. It's like, hey, these people killed less people,
right? Or like what Safi Dean's doing with Bitcoin and crypto. Yeah. You know, like he's doing like the nerd part of it and the good parts of it, but with real world, like modern examples.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to like go into like super crazy, you know, you don't have to go 100 years ago for the Great Depression and realize what the government's done to our money is wrong. It's like, you know, it's like, hey, like look at what this is doing. I mean, maybe not right now, the last couple of weeks with crypto prices, but
yeah, crypto. I've lost. I mean, I looked at my crypto today, and I was like, "This better fucking bounce back up. This better. You Bitcoin maxers better not be lying to me right now. Like, this better bounce back up."
No, in Discord, I just shared the Tobias Funke. Oh my god, we're having a fire sale.
It's so
it's not looking good. I think it'll bounce back up.
I'm sure it'll bounce back up.
With inflation, it has to, right? Like there's
I mean, I tried to watch Tom Woods episode on what's having a Bitcoin, and it was interesting. Like, listen, I'm not gonna try to tell the story because I'm not enough in that financial Bitcoin world to explain any of it. Hey, libertarians, that right there, that was an example of someone not knowing something and decide not to talk about it. Maybe you should try that too.
I was about to say we did a Hop Hour episode on Bitcoin, and John Wildman goes in like, you need a hardware wallet. This is how you store your keys. This is how you're complete. You know, I think I said maybe 10 words that whole hour episode. I was like, you go, dude.
Yeah. I had done an entire podcast like that. Like I've had a guy on, I'm just like, yeah, you explain this to me now. Like I'm 5 years old and I'll just hear and go.
I'm just like taking notes off screen.
Exactly. This is like, what's the other example? Like libertarian subversion is what's his name? Todd Hobgoblin, Todd something. I did that fucking boss baby. I mean, what grown man calls himself a boss baby and makes a drawing like that? Like who? Like he could miss in the drawing of that. Like what?
No.
Yeah, his own profile pic with a picture of his face on the boss baby and like a tight tail.
I didn't know he did the picture. God,
I gotta see if I don't know how to story, but even if someone else do it, like how do you make that your own profile pic? Todd, I'm saying find it here. Boss. And his voice. I mean, look at this guy with the big beard, and you're like, oh, he's probably a masculine dude. Libertarian chief. I bet it sounds awesome.
Like my first experience with him was that I think it's still his pin tweet, the Social Security one.
I haven't seen that one. Let me see if I can find. I'm actually blocked.
It used to be his pin tweet. It's awesome. My dad even shared it a couple years ago on Facebook.
Nice. I can't find him because I'm blocked, I think.
Oh, I got him.
If you can read it off me real quick if you can.
By the time this is from January 1st, 2019. By the time I'm 67, over $600,000 would be paid into Social Security on my behalf. That money would have been worth $1.9 million if I had gotten a 5% return. My annual interest would be $95K. The government promises me $3,075 a month at 67, which is $37,000 a year. How is this not theft? It's a good, short, great example. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this guy seems cool. Libertarianism, and then I start following. I'm like, geez.
Drag queen is no different than taking the kids to church.
And from a libertarian's perspective, it's not.
Yeah, that's my problem with libertarianism.
I know.
Like Ace is right. Ace is 100% right. This is not like from libertarian principle. He's 100% right, which is why I love Ace. Ace is great. He's a great sounding board for explaining why I'm not a libertarian. Like he's not convincing me. He's explaining for me why I don't believe in this.
That's true. I've definitely fallen off on Ace over the last couple months.
Like I've had him on the show multiple times. Probably gonna have him on again in the future. I really enjoy talking to Ace.
He seems like a cool guy.
Oh yeah, he's great. We did what was it? A prison abolition episode, and that was just really good. Like it was I want to have Marcel on because him and Marcel both for prison abolition. But like his is like we should have like a social credits, like not social credits, like we should have reputation that matter when people should have private businesses. Do it. Marcel's like here's like corporal punishment is a better alternative than prisons. And so I definitely want to get him on to kind of give like a counter example for prison abolition.
So that ruse for Florida or whatever, I went through everyone that liked his announcement tweet, and I unfollowed all of them except for Marcel. I was like, I can't do it.
Can't do it. Marcel is just. I can never tell when Marcel is being like serious, trolling, or being like strategically like. I can never tell if he says something I don't agree with. I'm like, do you actually believe that, or are you just like strategically saying that to get a different response?
Besides his Twitter, the only interaction I've had with him was Daniel had a space talking about abortion one time.
His abortion take is very.
I remember he was pro-choice. I mean, this was 2 months ago or whatever. So I don't remember exactly what his choice was. I remember he was pro-choice, but it wasn't evictionary. It wasn't evictionism, was it?
It basically was. We can tell. We all agree. Certain people shouldn't have kids. Mm-hmm. The people who get abortions wouldn't be good parents. They only want to kill their kid. So because of that, they'd be bad parents. So we said let them abort the kid because we don't want any bad parents.
The logic checks out.
It's very, very logical. I think it's missing a few steps, and but like I can never tell if he actually has that view or if it's just some weird way of him like fucking with leftists. Like I can never always tell what his end game is with anything he says.
I think that's a much better argument than Walter Block's evictionism, though.
Absolutely. Oh, Walter Block's evictionism.
It's the dumbest argument.
It is the most Jewish argument I've ever heard. The baby's not paying rent. Who can evict it? It's like, what's her name? Carrie Baldwin. Her debate with him at the Civil Forum is like one of the best libertarian debates. Like, it's really, she is incredible on abortion. Like the second best person probably alive on abortion topics.
Who's your favorite?
Trent Horn. He's a Catholic. Trent Horn. He's a Catholic apologist.
Okay.
He's ridiculously good on abortion. Like he'll debate anybody on topic and just like system. Like, he's so good. He did a devil's advocate abortion debate when he took the pro-choice side. Debated abortion advocate who was pro-life. Who's like, what's pro-choice? It was arguing for pro-life. Then he rebutted his own arguments afterwards. Like he did a rebuttal to himself after the devil's advocate debate. It was great.
That's great.
That guy's fucking intelligent as hell. I mean, I listen to that guy talk, and I'm like, he was like Superman and fast teaches on podcasts. I'm like, oh, he's just a regular dude. Then I find out, oh, you teach a class, I have like 2 degrees and like 18 books an hour. Like apparently his couch he has like a couch in his office, like Catholic Answers. It's a futon because he takes naps half the day because he gets all his book there in the morning, and they don't even care because he writes like a whole book in a day.
So he's literally just Catholic Rothbard.
Pretty much, he is Catholic Rothbard. He also wrote a book called Can a Catholic Be a Socialist? Short answer, no. And the entire book is on that. And he actually is a fan of Austrian economics. And so he won't call himself that. I talked to him before on Twitter. I'm like, what do you call yourself an Austrian economist? He goes, well, I don't know if to actually call myself that, but what I do know about him, I am a fan of and I agree with. Actually, a lot of people at Catholic Answers, like Jimmy Akin, the head senior apologist at Catholic Answers, when doing a debate on like the historical accuracy of the Bible, he brought up 3 books on Lincoln to showcase different views of Lincoln. He brought up Thomas E. Lowenzer's book. So like he adapted on inflation and brought up Austrian economists. Like there's some people at Catholic Answers who are like, they don't talk politics a lot. But when they do, it's very like, oh, you know your shit. Like they know their economics, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, God, wow. Maybe Tom Woods and Bob Murphy have done a lot more than I thought they had.
Tom Woods used to work at Catholic Answers, I believe, which is actually
Oh,
weird.
okay.
Like there's a weird connection there. Is he? So he still has a like he went on what was it? He has like a you go like who writes for Catholic Answers. He has like a whole like about me page on Tom Woods, and I mean, they put out an article recently. It was like top 10 books every libertarian, every Catholic should read, and one of them was like how did church build Western civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So they still support Tom Woods' work, which is really really good. But
how did you? Because you just recently converted to Catholicism, right?
Yep. A year ago from January, so maybe a year and 6 months.
Okay. So what did you come from? I know your parents like were mega church people. Were
Pentecostal?
You were that too?
Yeah, I was Pentecostal. Non snakes. I have to preface that I was a non-snake kind of Pentecostal. There were no snakes. They were speaking in tongues. There was like fucking Iron Man. They would put their hand and people would just fall over. But it wasn't snake variety. Never saw any. And most closer we had like a horse outside one time for like Christmas. That was like about it.
So what was it about Catholicism that like attracted you? Was it like the traditionalism of it, or?
No. I'm a huge fan of science and evolution, and I was given the choice in my church, like, well, you can't believe in both. The Kin Hand type of thing was like, well, you believe in evolution, we must deny Genesis being literal. And the pastor was a young Earth guy, and so I found Aquinas, found Catholic views on evolution, and started reading all of them, and found all the church fathers. Like, okay, I like these people; these are great. And then before I decided to leave, I emailed the pastor to debate him on literal reading the Bible, and I realized the pastor was kind of stupid. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go here anymore. So
okay.
You're was it Lutheran, I believe, or
LCMS? Yeah, Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, not ELCA.
Okay, what's the difference between the two? I don't know. I'm not big on Lutheran stuff.
Yeah, so ELCA is Evangelical Lutheran Church Assembly, and they allow women pastors. I'm pretty sure they allow LGBTQ pastors. They don't have open. They have open communion.
Mm-hmm.
They're a lot more liberal. I'm not really sure what. We have more differences than we have in common. So Lutheran Church Missouri Synod is very traditional. It was, I think, the oldest Lutheran denomination in America. I'm from, or my grandma's from the town that it was founded in.
Nice.
Or it was technically founded in Chicago, but the first seminary was in her hometown.
Nice.
So like, it's just old traditional. So like, close communion. I got confirmed in 8th grade. Baptism as a kid. It's very just traditional values.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's you said it was ECLA and the other one was this.
Yeah. So there's Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, Wisconsin Synod. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's Lutheran Church Wisconsin. I know it's Wisconsin Synod. I'm not sure exactly what the initials are. And then ELCA, Evangelical Lutheran Church.
Which one was you because there's a lot of debates in like Catholic circles, like which one has a better, like what's the liberal Catholic to consider, what has a better precedent in church history and church fathers, and people try to pull both sides. Say we're actually the better Catholics because we have these. There's a similar debate going on, like the Lutheran circle, like which one has more legitimacy based on what Lutheran views were and that kind of stuff, or
no, because I mean we don't have a pope. Yeah. LCMS has their own head. ELCA has their own head. We're both called Lutheran in name, but we are different denominations.
Okay. So it's both.
So we do have our I mean, like, actually, college, my fraternity was a Lutheran fraternity. Not everyone was Lutheran in it, and I think out of all the Lutherans but one, we were all LCMS.
Yeah.
The church we would go to was LCMS and everything like that. Yeah. The one guy that was ELCA, I lived with him when I lived in St. Louis for a couple months, and he's pro-life, like he's super liberal, or he's pro-choice. I mean. Like super liberal, like they're fine with gay marriage and all that. And it's like, how are we both Lutheran?
Yeah. Like I haven't obviously I'm Catholic, so I disagree with Luther on several things. But I've read Luther, and dude, that guy could write. Like I love reading Luther. Like okay, I'm gonna say it, my favorite Luther thing is the Jews and their lies. I haven't finished it, but I only like the first few paragraphs, and I could not stop reading it. It's just he's just a great writer, and I gotta say I don't necessarily just like. Obviously not against the Jews, but his like what you need to do about like subverters in your community, he's not wrong. So I think it's a lot of good stuff to read out of Luther.
The cool thing what I really like about him too is he wasn't trying to leave the Catholic Church. he just had actual disagreements with them.
Yeah.
And I think like most of his disagreements with the Catholic Church were fair.
Yeah.
You know,
They're definitely fair
indulgences, stuff like
criticisms.
that. You know, indulgences for your family members. You know, a lot like that. You know, the church was more at the time running a business, and they were spreading the word.
Yeah, there are definitely some fair criticism that I think should have been like if Luther, if it played out where the church was formed and incorporated some of the critiques and they actually met middle, they debated saying it was like a church council, he'd probably be a saint and we'd have a lot of his problems. But it wasn't, it didn't
Yes.
play out that way. And so
No.
it's sad to see because I'm like, you read Luther, like the things I'm reading, I wish you would. I wish there was a debate and a council that happened to incorporate several things, because he was a great writer. I mean, he had some.
Yeah.
I mean, God, his writing is it's fiery. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, and then like I mean, one of his bigger things was, you know, hey, we should translate the Bible to the common tongue, which I didn't have. So when did I know the Catholic Church stopped doing the Latin services in what, 50s?
Vatican II was, I think, in the 50s or 60s. I can't remember the exact date.
Was the
But,
Bible in the common tongue by that time already?
I believe it was.
Okay.
So the issue was to hold back biblical translation. I actually watched a good debate between Jimmy Akin and Protestant Gavin Ortland on like biblical translation debate. And the problem with like biblical translation is that not a lot of people, since it was expensive to translate for a long period of time, there was only like the elites basically who would translate it, and there was a lot of people who would translate things to suit benefits. Like there's a great book, Politicizing the Bible by Scott Hahn, The Roots of Historical Criticism and the Secularization of Scripture. And basically he argues that a lot of different people would interpret the Bible or would translate the Bible in different ways to justify political power. Like there were kings who would find a dissident priest and have him come in to be like an official, like representative of the church, and then use him to justify more gross of state power and other sayings. So the Bible there was so many ways where it was translated to affect political sayings that weren't accurate to what the scripture actually was saying. So the church was like, okay, we got to figure, like, we have to like approve every single one of these, or we have to say we can't do something once. It was very difficult to figure out how to go about doing that correctly.
Okay. So because I haven't had like these conversations with a Catholic in years, like since high school. So what, besides obviously the 4 or 5, what is it, 5 books of the Catholic?
Seven.
Okay. Besides those 7, what version of the Protestant Bible would be closest translation to what the Catholics use? King James or?
I really have no idea.
Yeah.
This is one area I'm not super knowledgeable on when it comes to like biblical translations and that kind of stuff. Like when I bought a Bible, I just googled Catholic Bible with 7 books, and I bought this one. I think it's NRSV. So I don't know what's translation is most accurate to as a saying. It's there's so many translations, and it's honestly there's people who like make the entire life studying that kind of stuff, and I need to read just more into it because I would love to know more about it. But it's really interesting, but it's just overwhelming to get into, you know.
So what are the 7 books? That's another thing I've never actually looked into. Or like, what are they about? Are they about different? Because they're all Old Testament, right?
Yeah, all of them Old Testament. There's Sirach, Wisdom, First and 2nd Maccabees, Tobit, and then there's extra parts of Esther and Daniel that were taken out. I don't know.
5.5.
Yeah, there's 7 books in total, but I can't remember all 7 of them.
So they're all different then.
Yeah, I know First and 2nd Maccabees was removed by Calvin, because it's like it's very hard to find information about why they were removed. But best I could find was Calvin in one letter explicitly said, "Are we removing First and 2nd Maccabees because they have evidence that points to purgatory?" And it was more like Calvin was a deliberate like. I'm not knocking on all sola scriptura. I'm knocking on Calvin real quick. Calvin basically went, I'm going to remove the things I don't like and then declare whatever's left I agree with is all you need. And so I know a Book of Wisdom. I think Book of Wisdom was removed because the beginning Book of Wisdom has a second account of the creation story. And people had a disagreement how one says if you read them both literally they contradict. If you don't read them literally, they don't contradict. But because a lot of people were more fan of like literal stuff, there was like, okay, well, this one contradicts this one, so we're gonna keep seeing and move wisdom. And so there's things like that are involved in.
So do you think like one's literal, one's not, or?
I haven't studied the wisdom one in depth to say for sure if that one's more literal. I would say I think you could read either one and get either way and get things out of it. And I mean, the debate on like literal interpretation versus like metaphorical interpretation in Genesis is like old as the Bible itself almost.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like I listened to a debate recently between do you know who a Byzantine SCOTUS is on Twitter?
No.
He just recently unlocked his account, but he's a really good Catholic on Twitter. Really great on politics, and he's also a hardcore biblical literalist who argues for like young Earth stuff. And he did a debate with Jimmy Akin on young Earth, and it was a really great debate. But also, it's kind of like, yeah, I was firmly like, it's not literal. It's the young Earth can't be weird. But as I hear the debate, I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm not even going to touch this topic with a solid answer because there's so much information on both sides. I am not going to spend my life studying either of these topics. So I'm going to just say either way, I think is acceptable.
It honestly, obviously, like the Bible's the word of God, way to heaven. But if you take the young Earth or not, if you take Genesis as literal or not, what's the difference?
Yeah, does it affect
it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, it affects science and affects things outside of like Christian doctrine, but it doesn't really affect Christian doctrine itself. And so I don't really have too much of a focus on it. I mean, I do believe in evolution, but I believe in very Thomistic evolution, which is a great website anybody listening called ThomisticeViews.com, and it's a great website for like Thomistic views of evolution.
Ooh. Now the real fun debate about literal or not is Revelations. That's always fun.
I have actually never read Revelations.
It's been a long time for me.
Yeah, I lied to my old certs because here it is. I found it recently. My old middle youth group did these things called Phase 10, where you would do a booklet and they would have you had to take it off as you read the Bible. If you completed all 10, you read the entire Bible, and then they get a big giant steak dinner. I'm still the only guy in the entire church actually finished. It was like 3 girls and me. And I technically lied to the last one because I didn't actually read Revelations. But I still went to the steak dinner and still enjoyed it.
Nice.
But it's
like Paul writes about like dragons and stuff in his visions for the end times.
Yeah.
But like one of the things I heard, it was just like a side comment. One of my high school teachers said, because I went to a church grade school and then a Lutheran high school. But it's like, what if it's just like a modern day attack helicopter?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to describe it. It's like people back then, they would have called it magic or something, And it's like, how like much of that, these visions and stuff were as literal?
Like that one about like the 7-headed creature or something. And it's like, just be 7 countries coming together. Or could that be like an actual tank with 7 guns on it? There's no way of really knowing. Right. And that makes it, what I have with Revelations, that's make it kind of fun to try to figure out, like, interpret that, how to. But go ahead, anyone reading Revelations, you don't read it with your newspaper next to you or with Twitter open and try to like, oh, there we go. See, guys, it's going to happen 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand those people.
Well, speaking of those people, if it is literal, then I love the Jehovah's Witness stuff. Because they got that wrong so many times that they
built a house. They built a house for like, I think it was like Abraham to come and live in, and no one's living in it, and they still won't sell it, and it's just.
But it was started in 1920s?
I think so. I don't know the exact. Let me look that up.
Oh, 1872.
Ooh, I thought it was.
But they only believe that Revelations is literal, so they only believe 144,000 get into heaven, which is 12 by 12 by 12. I can't remember. But it was a complete, the number for complete.
Yeah,
that's why it was in the Bible, but they believe it as literal. It's like there's been more than 144,000 of you guys.
Yeah, it's like are they banking on everyone before them not
right
getting in? It's just I still can't get over for me Jehovah's Witness believing one, they don't believe in the Trinity, and that Jesus is actually Michael the Archangel. Like that one to me is like the craziest one I've ever heard.
That one I hadn't heard of.
Yeah, like there's one part where like Jesus speaks with the voice of an archangel, and so they interpret that to mean, that means the only archangel you know is Michael, which means Jesus is Michael, and that's just their line of reasoning for that. And I'm just, the first time I heard that, I was like honestly, my dream is I want to study a bunch of Jehovah's Witness stuff, and eventually you want to knock on my door and invite them in just to like debate them for 2 hours. I think that'd be fun. But no one knows. I've never had Jehovah's Witness knock on my door.
I haven't either. Or did you ever see the meme? It's like they're playing Uno, I think, with the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's like if they win, we convert to Jehovah's Witness. If we win, they're going to the bar with us.
Love that. There's some great like Jehovah's Witness memes and stories. Like there are some. Like was it? You ever see that British show Black Books?
No.
No, it's a Buddhist comedy, and most Buddhist comedies are like terrible, but this one's actually pretty good. It's basically about an
Well, what, you think
alcoholic.
most British comedies are terrible?
Yeah, I think most of them aren't that good. Like the IT Crowd isn't funny.
The Office?
Ricky Gervais is funny. He's like the exception to like he's funny, but the rest of it, no. But
Martin Freeman is hysterical in that.
I'm also not a fan of The American Office. If that makes you feel better, I'm not a fan of The Office in general. Like I love mockumentaries. I love mockumentaries. It's like a genre, but I'm not a fan of The Office.
Is it just too cringe for you?
I think it might be what it is.
Okay.
I can barely get to an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia without cringing. But that one's like deliberate, you know. It makes you kind of see this number when people are talking.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
I've never seen those. I might need to watch. I think the only Buddhist comedy I've seen was it Hitchhikers? No, it wasn't Hitchhikers. It was oh my god, I'm blanking on the title.
Galaxy's
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen scenes of it. I'm trying to remember. I'm completely blanking on what the British comedy was that I saw. Anyway, Black Books. The guy who owns the shop is an alcoholic and who smokes all day long, and he gets married. Anybody actually wants to buy a book because the point of the bookstore that he could sit there and read books and no one would bug him. And it's this great scene in the show where he has to like do his tax returns, and he's trying to find any excuse not to do it. So like he calls his mom as an excuse. He never talks to her, and he's just sitting there like staring at these numbers, and everybody just knock on the door like, "Do you want to talk about Jesus?" He's like, "Yes, come in." And the song like, "We never got this far before," and they're like stumbling over the wall. He's like, "Yeah," and he's just like on the end of the seat trying to like find an excuse, and it's pretty good.
A really good newer British comedy because it's not full comedy. Good Omens.
Good Home. Oh, I've heard of that one.
It's on Amazon Prime. It was a book by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, you know, two funny British authors. And then the show, it's
David Tennant, right?
David Tennant. He plays a demon, and then
I can't remember. I know the face.
I know. He plays an angel.
Yeah.
So they were here at the Garden of Eden. They love living on Earth. They're friends. They love Earth. They don't want it to go away in the apocalypse in Revelations. But they also are given tasks by God and Satan throughout the times there. So the end times are coming, and they had misplaced the Antichrist.
I'm definitely watching it. What's it on? Is it on Amazon?
Amazon Prime. It's like 6, maybe 8 episodes. It's incredible.
I'm definitely watching that tonight, probably.
This show was just great.
Like I'm not used to British comedy, but like British like dramas, like what was it? I love Doctor Who, and what's it? Idris Elba. He's so Luso.
I need to watch that. I've always heard good things about that.
It is probably my favorite like crime drama. Like it is so good.
Okay.
Some of the most like Criminal Minds ain't got enough on some of the scenes in the show. Like it is just, and he's just Idris Elba is an incredible actor. And if he wanted to play James Bond, I'd be completely on board with it. Like I'd be completely on board with that casting.
I think he's a little too old now, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Definitely could have done
it. You see him in what was it? Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and
No,
Furious
actually last year I just started watching those movies.
I have
So I've only seen the first 7. I haven't seen 8 yet, or Hobbs and Shaw or 9. I
would say 8 and 9 are not. 8 has the best like song besides Tokyo Drift, but the movie's not great.
I did skip Tokyo Drift also.
What? That's like the best one.
Well, I was gonna go back and watch it in like the timeline, and then I just kept watching 7, and then I moved, and I got busy again.
Well, that makes sense. It's like, you know, I'm a fan of the Fast and Furious movies. I love a popcorn flick where I can just suspend disbelief just to like enjoy it. But I gotta say, the 9th one, I couldn't suspend it that far when I saw the Fierro in space. I was just like, okay, I can't go that far. And like it was a joke like 2 years ago. They're gonna go to space, and Vin Diesel's like, we might. And now he's talking about time travel and like a Transformers crossover. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm out. I can't. I love it. I can't continue to.
I love it.
It's like I'm gonna go see it probably, but it's so absurd.
The Rock. That might be the most Rock character we've ever seen.
Yes,
it's like just I don't think he's acting.
No, that scene was like, "Hope you bought the cavalry." Like, woman, I am the cavalry. Rips like the minigun off the helicopter just to shoot it, and I'm like, I love it. Like
Daddy has to go to work and just flexes out of the cast.
It's so it is this Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So at that point, like he's had some great movies. You ever see Walking Tall?
No.
Some of his older films before he got like ridiculously big.
Right.
And it's based on like a true story. This is like if we make him an older film that was much more realistic. He comes back from Iraq. He was like special forces, and the town is corrupt and run by basically as a casino in town. The casino set down the middle. Everyone is basically working for the casino, and he's pushing drugs on kids, and he's bought up the sheriff. And so he decides he basically declares war on the casino, and it runs for sheriff and just wreaks havoc. And it's just
sounds incredible.
It is like he didn't carry a gun. He carried a 2x4. Because like first,
was it one of the WWE movies or?
No. It was,
okay.
After that. Like he was gonna go to Osaka when he first went in, but said, "No, what? I'm not gonna go in it because I want to get arrested for like murder." So he just grabs a 2x4 and wreaks havoc with it. And then later, when he gets like arrested, he's on trial and he gets declared innocent. He grabbed the 2x4 like off the table and whips like the tag off of it, and he like saws down to it as a handle. So the giant 2x4 was like a leather wrapped baseball handle, and he just beats the shit out of people with it. It is like my favorite rock movie. I think like it's like pure testosterone action film. Like it's like an 80s Rambo almost, but like in today, it's amazing.
I do think his Black Adam might be his best movie. It's looking like it could be.
I cannot wait for that movie, man. Like, I'm a huge. My favorite DC character probably is Dr. Fate, and so seeing Pierce Brosnan.
I haven't actually read much DC.
Like Dr. Fate's great, and he's played by my favorite Bond, Pierce Brosnan, and so it's
he was your favorite Bond.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the Bond films. I've only seen like a few, and I haven't seen any of the ones with Daniel Craig.
Okay. Pierce Brosnan was great as Bond. His movie sucked.
Yes, I can agree with that. I can agree with that completely. But he was
perfect casting for Bond and Dr. Fate.
Yeah, it's gonna be oh my god! I really hope Henry Cavill comes back sooner or later with Superman because I need to see Shazam, Superman, Black Adam. Like that animated film they did was like amazing. I need to see it just done in live action now. Like I gotta see
Henry Cavill would come back.
Apparently, the reason he can't come back is that when he signed up for The Witcher, his lawyer and him both missed the contract where Netflix owns the rights to his face, which is why they couldn't put his face in Shazam. They can only put like here,
or Peacemaker.
Yep, another one. It is like they can't.
Well, no, what I heard was he didn't do Shazam and Peacemaker because he wants like a bigger contract. Like he wants a guarantee for like he's gonna actually be in movies.
Yes, he does want that as well. But it's why they couldn't use like old footage of him, and they can't like even like physically do anything.
Okay.
So it's
okay.
And this is why also they can't really sign a new contract with him going forward because Netflix still has the rights to his face. Which is this? Like, how the fuck did your lawyer miss that? You're a big name actor who plays Superman, and the lawyer missed rights to a face. I mean,
his lawyer was rating and WoW with him at the time.
Probably.
You heard he almost missed the Superman call, right?
Yeah, he's so good. I love watching him build that computer was amazing. Like he's this peak nerd Kotsu and like a buff dude. He's exactly what you want to be. Every nerd wants to be him to come out.
He seems like the nicest guy too. Like, have you seen the video of like the girls like interviewing him? They're like touching him and everything. Mm-hmm. It's just like, why is this allowed?
It's crazy. There was my favorite Henry Cavill story. Actually, was probably he has a nephew who wore a Superman t-shirt at the school, and the nephew kept saying, "My uncle is Superman," and the teacher kept like getting the teacher because he's apparently a kids can't have make believe. We're like, no, he's not. Like you're a grown woman arguing with a student like, well, he's not your uncle. Let the kid play make believe. But the photo of the kid like on a mist, like pouting, like marching forward, and the Superman walking behind him all chill. It's like that is exactly a Superman thing to do. Like I love it. He perfect casting in my opinion. Like he's just
did that happen before Shazam?
I believe it did.
Is that where they got the?
It might be where they got the idea. Actually, that'd be a pretty funny story.
That's way more wholesome than a boys getting the fan theory of Ant-Man.
Oh my god, dude! I was watching The Boys. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I realized a new season had dropped. I'm like, I'll watch this real quick. I'm laying in bed. I'm just like, I couldn't react. It was like it was probably the most extreme thing I've seen, but not the dumbest thing I've seen. But it was just like extreme.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have a buddy at work, and he was just complaining about it. He's like, I turned it off. He's like, I haven't watched anymore.
I had a friend. He's like, I want to watch The Boys, and then I showed him that we watching The Boys. And he's like, what's this? Like The Boys? Oh, it's gonna start next week. And he watched that one scene. He's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Speaking of dumb superhero things, you ever seen a Disney Channel show Mighty Med?
No.
Okay, so it's an older Disney Channel on Disney XD. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That sounds familiar.
Mighty Med, yeah. and particularly it's a hospital for superheroes, and these two kids, because they know all the comic book superhero lore, hope the doctors cure superheroes. And in the first episode, there's a superhero who has like super strength, and he's laying in the hospital bed dead. They're trying to like restart his heart. And they're like, what happened recently? Oh, he was on Mars, and Mars has a heavier gravity than Earth, and maybe the gravity put his heart down to his feet. And then they grab the defibrillators and they defibrillate his feet through rubber boots, one on each foot. And then he gets up and it's fine. And I'm like, I have never seen something that explicitly stupid. Like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it's just, it's hilarious. Like, anyone listening to this, go look up Mining Bed Season 1, Episode 1. It's a part 2 on YouTube with the clips, and watch that scene. It is so funny.
Speaking of dumb old, how old is it?
I think it was like 20. Let me look it up real quick.
Because I was talking to some friends about old dumb shows. And do you remember Megas XLR?
I do not.
It was this big fat nerd and then like his skinny nerd friend, and they just play video games all the time. And they go to the junkyard and find this giant robot from the future. So he replaces the controls with this car on the top of it, and then uses like a video game controller. And then the pilot from the future, she like comes back in time. And so, but he won't like give it up. So he has to like help her like save the day every episode.
What is this called?
Megas XLR. It has the greatest intro I've ever seen on a cartoon too.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up after this interview. Speaking of interview, we gone for an hour and 20 minutes. I normally only go for an hour.
Okay. Quick question though, since you are in Florida, go Bolts or?
Yes, go Boats. I want to say I love how the best Florida sports team is fucking ice hockey. Like, that just, every time I think about that, it kills me. It's I'm not a huge sports guy, but I support the Boats and I support the Florida Gators. But only when I only support the Gators when they beat Alabama. This never happens. But I don't follow college football. I follow it just enough to know when Alabama loses to celebrate.
Yeah,
that's how I get by.
So I will say, I used to not follow sports either. Go to a Tampa Bay Lightning game. It's ever since then, I went to a Blues game. I've just been a huge hockey fan. So I'd recommend doing it. You're going to love it, dude.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. But, beer, fighting, high speed action.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I will say I've watched a few like hockey games like on YouTube, on TV when it's not like at the gym, and I'm like, it is like, I'll be on the treadmill, I just forget I'm on the treadmill, like watch it, like this is really good. It's really fun to watch. I can't imagine in person. I bet it's like really intense.
It is.
I'll have to do that soon. Well, we give an hour and 20 minutes. What are your plugs? Where can we find you at?
Yeah, just hop hours. We're taking like a short break right now. Two of the guys just bought houses. Twitter at Bunger679. I think I had the hop hours link. Twitter in my Twitter bio. I'll check for that if not. That's about all I have going.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been this episode of Face, Liberty, and Praxis, Season 1, Episode 12. Have a good night.